arriving at the Hyena then. It's still very hot. Oh, no, we've got action here. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. I'm going to start this side. Right, let's have a look here. There is one sub-adult. In fact, I'm not going to start this side. I'm going to start the other side. So the tips. I'm going to come in here with a hanger and chop these out of the tree. Right, before we drive, or as we drive in here, we're going to rename these things from the ones we have done before. And very cleverly, Nikki Austin came up with a nomenclature system that's going to keep us reminded of their ages. So, we're going to name them after their birthdays, or the months in which they were born. So the fluffy one, the 7-month-old is going to be called May. That's when she was born. Then the 7-week-old one. This is fascinating. So every time we get here, something else bizarre occurs. That 2-week-old cub. That 2-week-old cub there was either greeting or suckling from the pretty mum. She's suckling. Now, they're not supposed to do that. That is absolutely incredible. All right, so while we're sitting here, we're going to have May. That was May we first saw. She's that one that, just to the left-hand side. Tips the one on the ground there. That's the 7-month-old there. That's going to be called May from this day forth. Right. Then the 7-week-old cub, which was born 7 weeks ago, obviously, we're going to call October. So are we? Yes. No, we're not. We're going to call November. She was born beginning of November, so that's going to be November. And then we're going to have December 1 and December 2 being the twins. Then the adults we will call Pretty. There she is. She's the one standing there. And we'll call the one lying, the dominant female there, lying there, the matriarch. We think maybe the matriarch. She's going to be called Manky, which is a good name for something that looks like she does. All right, so we've got May, November, December 1, December 2, Manky, and Pretty. So what's going on here is fascinating. See, Pretty is now trying to push one of the December cubs out of the way because the December cub is trying to suckle from her. Now, you will read in books that doesn't happen. There she is, suckling from a hyena that is not her mother. Now, I really think you could spend all day here and learn some fascinating things every single time. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to reposition slightly so that we can get the left-hand nose of the car a little bit closer and shoot a little bit for this virtual reality rig that we have here. They're becoming so confiding with us now. The 7 cameras are now recording. Start the sound. That clicking noise you're going to hear is me just syncing everything. And here we are. Now, interestingly, sorry, Tips, can you go down to May on the ground there? Look how fat her belly is. I think she's had something to eat today. Definitely looking very full indeed. So somebody probably brought something back for her. Her mother has got a very scarred back, so we'd call her Scarback if we see her, but she doesn't seem to be around here anywhere. And I haven't seen her for a long time. Again, December 1, feeding from Pretty, which is just bizarre. And Pretty will be very careful about creating too much biting there on that young cub, because she is definitely subordinate to the female lying in the entrance hole. It just changes every time we come here. There's something fascinating going on. And just to reiterate, if you perhaps weren't watching this morning, yesterday I remained convinced that we only had one of these two twins around. And because we hadn't seen them together here. Last time we saw them together was about a week ago, in fact more than a week ago, at the other den on Philemon's Dip. And now they have both arrived here. It's the first time we'd seen them. I was convinced that there was only one here. And then Inga sent through two photographs of two very different looking cubs, and I couldn't understand it. But what we were seeing was one and then the other, one and then the other. So both of the twins are here, and we've got the 7-week-old one, now called November. And she's inside and doesn't want to come out now because a domineering female is right in the entrance there, possibly feeding her most dominant cub. I think we'll just sit here and see what happens. I think it's just too fascinating, and well as being extremely cute, watching what's going on here. I'm not sure if we're copying the final control or not. I may have turned them down by mistake. Look, now they're both trying to suckle in their mother. Ah, yes. No, I had to turn them down. Oh, I'm copying them. The mother not making a huge effort there to get into any kind of position where the cubs can easily suckle from her. Now, Gail, you're in Calgary in Canada, where I've no doubt it's freezing cold. The only reason I know where Calgary is because you had the Winter Olympics there at one stage, I think, many moons ago. Gail, you want to know who the mother of May is. May's mother is the scar-backed female, and I haven't seen her for a long time. That's not surprising. May will hang around the den here until she's about 8 or 9 months old, and then she'll start to move with the clan. And I suspect her mother probably brought something back for her to eat, and that's why she's so fat now. There were 3 adults here this morning, one of whom looked like a very pregnant female. Amazing stuff going on here. Now, Wingnut, you're in Lancaster. I don't want you to be confused by the hyenas. I think we're all slightly confused, but I think we're starting to get a handle on things now. Remember, highly matriarchal society. The one in front there is the most dominant that we can see, that we know of. She's got twins. The one behind is the pretty mother, also very hot, obviously. She's got one cub, now known as November. She is slightly lower ranking than this female, there's no question about that, but much higher ranking than the very subordinate female that was around here this morning. And you can just tell that by the way they react to each other. That subordinate female would run away every time these two stood up, and she was playing with May, who's now fast asleep. And May and she were getting on famously, but I suspect it was just kind of play behavior, because I think May's mother is also very dominant, but I don't know where she would fit into this hierarchy that we can currently see. So Wingnut, fear not, we're all relatively confused, but we're all learning something new about these incredible animals every day. Like you say, just wonderful things. This morning was the first time we'd seen all three of these cubs. Well, a completely unanswerable question here, I'm afraid, but very interesting. Safari Dean, you want to know if hyenas or any other animals suffer from something like we do, humans do, postpartum depression? I really don't think we understand. Listen to that. I really don't think we understand them sufficiently to be able to say. Safari Dean, I don't know. It's an interesting one. I'm not sure, I don't know much about it in humans, so I'm not sure what the hormonal causes of it are, but I imagine if they are hormonal, which I think they are, I imagine the same sort of hormones will probably be, going up and down in most mammals. So perhaps there is a form of postpartum depression for all mammals. Just going to resync the Mark in Bonnie, Scotland. Do you want to know how often the hyenas are likely to move their den? Mark, I thought it was every 4 or 5 weeks, but these chaps have now been here for sort of 6 weeks, I think. And have they been there that long? Maybe not quite that long. They've probably been here about a month. And I would have thought sort of 4 to 5 to 6 weeks they would move every so often. I know they have a number of dens around this place. They came here for a while, then they evacuated here and came back again about 2 months later. So, Mark, I'm not sure, to be honest. Let's wait and see. Let's put it at 4 weeks here, and let's wait and see when they leave this den. I think it does depend on the amount of threat that there is, the amount of hygiene. Now, this is a very busy den. There are lots of cubs here, obviously defecating, going to the loo all over the place. So the chances of disease increasing around here are very high, and maybe they will move in the next week or so. Mankey and her 2 twins have only been here for about a week, though. Look at those teeth. What a vicious set of gnashes. So, Tiki, a very good question. We were watching these 2-week-olds trying to suckle from Pretty, and we want to know, you want to know, surely if she didn't want them to suckle from her, she could just lie down or move. Well, it's exactly what she did, She lay down the wrong way, and then when one of them came up again, she kind of pushed him straight into the hole. So, yeah, you're absolutely correct. Doesn't have to tolerate it, and is to a large extent is not tolerating it. And she's now, I think, trying to call her cub out. She's trying to call November out. November is definitely very reticent about coming out when Mankey is around with December 1 and 2. Look at that. Heading off around the mound there. competition for the second best Twitter handle in the world has just been won, hands down, by somebody with the Twitter handle Brent Leo Smith's Boots. All I can say is, while it's an amazing Twitter handle, what this female is doing, we'll watch her, she's straight behind us now. While that is an amazing Twitter handle, it's not one that you should perhaps be proud of. You don't want to go anywhere near Brent Leo Smith's Boots. In fact, I'm so astounded by your Twitter handle that I've forgotten what your question was. Get it through again. So Joyce in Pennsylvania, you want to know why Pretty is drooling? I don't know. I think it's probably because they've just eaten. There's some food around here. She's looking pretty full. So is May, obviously. Anyway, let's just try and get the question again for Brent Leo Smith's Boots. So Brent Leo Smith's Boots, you want to know if the cub will get any milk from Pretty. Oh, I've made a mistake. There is May. May has just walked into picture. That is not May. That's another sub-adult there. She's not going to get a name. That's about an 8-month-old. Not an 8-month-old, about a 10-month-old. They're 2 months older than May. Goodness gracious. So they're going to have to be called March. So we've got March, May, heavens above. March and May, Pretty and Manky, December 1, December 2, and November. Phew. It's become absolutely fascinating. Right, so quickly, let's head across to some more suckling. No Brent Leo Smith's Boots. I don't think that she will give them milk, but if they do get hold of her teeth, yes, they will give them milk. Let's go across to Brent. He's also got some suckling going on. Right, so we have not moved, but some of the hyenas have, and Pretty's gone around the other side. Manky is here, sleeping with her backside into the den, which is probably a little intimidating for November. And round the other side is also May. So not much going on here at the moment. We'll sit here for a few more minutes, and then we'll see. Here comes Pretty. Now, she's been walking around, smelling. She walked around the vehicle twice. So I don't know what's creating kind of a bit of consternation for her. Trying to call her cub out. But unfortunately, the fat lump that is Manky, the ugliest hyena in the world, blocking the den. An amazing sound. Another one of these great questions that's very difficult to answer, and those are the best kind. Kathy, in Tennessee, you want to say, you say that you're surprised that these two lactating females aren't fighting, and can I explain that? Kathy, I'm not really sure why they should fight. Certainly there's a hierarchy in hyena clans that is very definite and undisputed, and so, I mean, were there to be any conflict, there's no question who would come out on top. The Manky mother would definitely come out on top unless she was old and decrepit and injured, which she isn't. But I can't really think of any mammals that fight simply because the females are lactating at the same time. In fact, I've always sort of thought of it as being quite the opposite. So if you can think of an example, let me know, and then let's try and unpack it together. All is now going into that wonderful evening peace. There are a couple of grasshoppers stridulating around the tree, around the termite mound here. You can hear them going. In fact, those are probably cicadas, different species of cicadas. Some other ones going. very high above us. A couple of francolins way in the distance calling their last call for the day. And Teb, sorry, can we just have a look at these two nests that are dolefully, mournful nests? And probably a very inexperienced male weaver came and built those two nests, hoping to attract himself a little family there. And they were obviously both rejected. Then normally, it's a southern-masked weaver. Normally the southern-masked weaver will nest with other southern-masked weavers. And this one decided to build his nest here above a hyena den, which is, well, I mean, right above the hole there. Probably not the most best-smelling location. And two females came to observe his efforts, rejected them, and now they stand there as a testament to his failed attempts to seduce a family for this year. Hopefully he's found himself a decent colony, and he's now, maybe he's found himself a little wife for the season. Very quiet here. I don't think we're going to spend another 2 or 3 minutes here. I'm not sure if the final control is trying to talk to me or not. It's really difficult with these radios these days to know what's going on. Oh, she's almost in the hole now. We had a few questions yesterday about whether or not the adults would take refuge in the hole, and the answer is no, but clearly they will stick their backsides in if they feel the need. Get out of it. Smelly animal. Move out the way so that November can come and eat. Oh, she's got another injury on her. Well spotted, Tebs. It's bizarre. Right. Look at her. A nasty injury there. But she really is a doleful-looking creature. Right, now look there. As soon as she's moved away, look who's come out. Look who's come out. It's little November. Or is it? Yes, it is. It is indeed. Look. See the spotting? So at 7 weeks, at 6 weeks they start to get the spots, or 5 weeks, and she's now got quite a lot of spotting down her neck. And look how happy she is. Look how incredibly happy she is that that manky, disgusting thing has moved away. Oh, sweet, man. So excited to see Mum. Oh, isn't that wonderful? Wingnut, you worried about November never coming out and getting enough to eat? Wingnut, don't worry. This is totally normal. The calling's normal. All the behavior here is entirely normal, entirely consistent. And certainly, old November there looks to be in very fine fettle indeed. She doesn't look to be thin at all, and I'm sure she's getting enough to eat. And if she was that starving, she'd have rushed straight for the teat. But she hasn't done. She just wants to come out and have a nice play. It's so sweet. Mike, an interesting one in Florida. You say, what makes hyena's milk some of the most nutritional that there is? I wasn't aware that it was the most nutritional, but that said, Mike, if it is, they do have incredibly efficient digestive systems, and I know that one of the major reasons they invest so heavily in that digestive system is that if you're a low-ranking female, you can't bring food back to the den because higher-ranking females will just steal it from you and feed it to their own cubs. So if you're a low-ranking female, you need to be able to convert food that you find into milk quickly and efficiently so that you can bring it back to the den and feed it to your babies in the form of milk. And I suspect if their milk is that much more nutritious than any of the other predators, that will be the reason why. Nice question. Thanks, Mike. All the way in Florida. So nice to see little November out now having a bit of a suckle. It just seems to me like order has been restored with the departure of Mankey. I mean, it must be a bit like, you know, you set up a little home with your children, and then suddenly some extremely aggressive, foul-smelling human just moves in with her two aggressive children. And it wouldn't be surprising if your own kid went and hid itself in its own room, didn't come out until the smelly one and her children had vacated the premises. That's exactly what's going on here. How big. So lots of questions about the fascinating social structure that hyenas have. And Rebecca, you want to know about the twin situation and would they have the same social structure or status being twins? Rebecca, they absolutely would have the same social status. Remember, they inherit their mother's social status. Now, what I suspect is that, well, what we do know is that if there are two females born, especially to a high-ranking female, one will kill the other. So what we can infer from the fact that there are two cubs here is that one of them at least is a male. They might both be male. In fact, that's my sort of gut feel, is that they're both males. And they will inherit their mother's status to a point, but once they're adult males, they will be dominated completely by all the females within the clan. So the fact that they're twins doesn't actually make any difference to their social standing within the clan. If they cannot both be females, or it's highly, highly unlikely that they're both females, because one would have killed the other. So, Rebecca, I hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, please feel free to send through another and tell me to buck up my act. Right, let's head back to Brent Leo Smith, see what he's got for you. I'm going to sit here probably to the end of the drive, and I'll see you shortly. Well, Brent didn't take his time over that. Tebs and I were just having a bit of a stretch, and I'll be back. That's wonderful. And we'll just spend the last few minutes with this precious little cub and her mother. I'm not going to move from here. Again, we don't want to disturb them as it gets dark, and the picture that you are seeing is a lot lighter than it is actually. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, we hit the summer solstice in 2 days' time. I cannot believe that that's the case. Ivy in New Jersey, you think Mankey's name should be Cork because she's always plugging up the hole there. Yeah, maybe it should. That's quite a very nice suggestion. Thanks, Ivy. You can see the light starting to fade now. And Pretty is looking around carefully, just seeing what's going on, seeing if maybe Mankey's coming back. And hoping, I've no doubt against hope, that she won't come back for the next little while, but knowing that she will eventually because her two cubs are in the hole there. It's just so peaceful now around here. A little bit of a moon. That thunderstorm that we hoped was going to be here has definitely not going to be here now, as is the case in a drought year. There is the moon, the waxing moon. It's now just over half. pretty close to full, I imagine, on Christmas. Seems to be nice serendipity around that. Whether there is or not, I don't know. Just flicking off the flies. Philip, a very nice comment. Apparently, well, you say it doesn't surprise you that hyenas have the strongest bite of all mammals, given how big their teeth are. Apparently they don't. Apparently the jaguar, Philip, in South America has an even more powerful bite than the hyena, if you can believe it. I think that's astonishing. Now, I'm just going to try and remember my numbers here. Apparently, a human being has a bite force of about 150 psi, or pounds per square inch. I think a hyena sits at about 850 pounds per square inch. The biggest, I believe, of any animal is an orca, a killer whale. And I believe their bite sits at about 16,000 pounds per square inch. And I think a jaguar is just higher than a hyena's. Now, you know, how accurate those measurements are is anyone's guess. And I think there's probably quite a lot of estimation in that. So wonderful information from Raisa, who always sends through little gems. Raisa, you say you read a study where it showed that the hyena's skull is not completely formed until they're 3 years old, and therefore those big jaw muscles which would need to be attached to the sagittal crest on the skull are not fully functional until about 3 years old. And Raisa, you say that's why one of the reasons they suckle for more than a year. Yeah, I'm sure that is absolutely the case. But certainly, though, why they won't be eating bones before they're 3, maybe they will certainly be eating a lot of meat before then. Now there you can hear a white-browed scrub robin, and that white-browed scrub robin has come here specially. I ordered him in order to sing happy birthday to Tebs. Oh, Tebs, isn't that nice? That's much nicer than the song we gave you today. And lots of you, thank you very much for wishing Tebs a very happy birthday. I think he's had a good birthday, other than the blinding heat, of course, that it's been in. It's normally from Johannesburg, of course, where the heat is not so hot. Did you spend the summer in the Kalahari?
Winter.
Winter, yeah. All right, everybody, that's it from us today. We're going to leave these hyenas to their peace. Thanks, Tebs, on your birthday for all your work today. Big thank you to Louise and Mickey in the final control. Of course, a thank you to Brent Lear Smith, the inimitable and the irascible, he of the smelly boot, and Andrew, who was filming him today, and Scott for his unfortunately fruitless tracking exercise. We will see you in the morning on the Sunrise Safari. Stay safe and happy wherever you are in the world. Bye-bye.